It's an interesting time for business. Tariff and trade policies are dynamic, supply chains are squeezed, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. If your business can't adapt in real time, you are in a little bit of hurt. So how do you get full visibility and adapt in real time? Over 42,000 businesses trust NetSuite by Oracle, your AI-powered business management suite. It brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. NetSuite is the #1 cloud ERP for a reason. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. Real-time forecasting helps you move into the future with confidence, and with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. Congrats, your business is doing great. All your hard work is paying off, but you need help like now, and you have to hire fast. How can you hire amazing candidates quickly? Easy, just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. And with sponsored jobs, your posts jump to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. One of the things I love most about Indeed is that it has one of the largest databases of job seekers, giving employers access to a wide range of candidates. And with job alerts, I get notified when new candidates apply. And with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. So how fast? Well, in the minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/SmartPassive. Just go to Indeed.com/SmartPassive right now and support a show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/SmartPassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. You spent months building towards launch day, but when the clock hits 0, your site crashes. Bots swarm, and loyal fans rage on Reddit. That's not good. Fanfare was built to stop that. Fanfare is the drop platform made for high-pressure moments, stampede-proof infrastructure, verified waitlists, and bot filters that actually work. Instead of refunds and rage, you get retention and revenue. And that sounds great to me. Your next launch shouldn't be a gamble. Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook and learn how to bulletproof your drop at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, that's fanfare.io/playbook.
Yeah, I would never rely on one platform because platforms could change, policies could change, and you'd be, trying to scramble to do something next. And so,
you're listening to Derral Eves. He is a YouTube and branding expert, somebody who a lot of people look up to in the YouTube space. He's actually also the founder of one of my favorite events that I have ever attended, which is called Vid Summit. And this is where I met a lot of people that you've heard me talk about on the show before, Roberto Blake, Sean Cannell, and several others. He's very connected in this space of YouTube, but he's also more than just a YouTuber. He's a businessman. He knows how to create businesses and brands that work. He is a producer on the Squatty Potty series with the Harmon brothers, not series, but that commercial with the pooping unicorn, Derral was involved with that. And he's involved in a lot of large million-plus subscriber YouTube channels and helping them not just get more audiences and get more exposure, but literally helping them build businesses with the brands that they're creating on YouTube and outside of YouTube. A big thing that Derral always talks about is you got to build a real business. It's not just about the views. It's not just about the advertising dollars. It's about the money that could be generated outside of those channels that you create. And we go into a lot of strategies and tactics on how to do that. We also talk a lot about the environment of YouTube and video in today's world in 2019 and a lot of other tips that you can use as a business owner no matter what level you're at. So make sure you stick around. This is a great one. Derral's a great guy. A lot of knowledge to drop in this episode for you. So hit subscribe and cue the intro music. Here we go.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. He's excited to give a unique conference experience to everyone at FlynnCon this year, Pat Flynn.
Still using a copy-paste website? Break the template trap with Framer. Whether you're overwhelmed by traditional site builders or frustrated with cookie-cutter designs, Framer gives you the freedom to create a site that's professional, polished, and uniquely yours. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. It's free to start, allowing you to browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something on your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, parallax scrolling, scroll animations, looping animations, and much more in seconds. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting, generating starter layouts, and can even translate your entire site to any language. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of Pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. With running your own business, legal questions always come with the territory. Like, can I use this contract or agreement? What do I do if a client doesn't pay? Am I even structured the right way for taxes? Instead of Googling your way through legal landmines, imagine having a law firm ready to address your business's legal needs without the sticker shock. That's what you get with Legal Shield's small business plans. Legal Shield helps entrepreneurs access real legal help on contract reviews, collection letters, business formation guidance, and even help navigating IRS audits. Members can schedule consultations, upload documents through the app, and get support from a provider law firm that knows small business laws in your state. Plus, consultations on taxes or trademarks help you stay ahead of potential problems. And if a client is late on a payment, Legal Shield steps in with professional collection letters so you can protect your hard-earned revenue, all for a fraction of the price of hiring a lawyer on your own. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI.
All right, this is session 355 of the Smart Passive Income Podcast. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Pat Flynn. If you don't know who I am, I'm here to help you make more money, save more time, and help more people too. And to help us today, like I said, we got Derral Eves. You can find him at DerralEves.com, EVES, or VidSummit.com, which is where I love to go every single year. I've gone the last 2 years, and I bring my video camera, and I just build amazing relationships. A lot of the collaborations I've done on YouTube have been a result of just attending his event. It's not like VidCon. If you've heard of VidCon, that's the 20 to 30,000 plus attendee conference where there's a lot of big YouTubers there, but they all have their fans there as well. And I went to that in 2018, and it was I do not want to go back. But VidSummit, I do want to go back because it's awesome. And not only that, the content that's presented on stage is so useful too, whether or not you're doing YouTube or not. I mean, it's just very useful. And the networking, obviously, is great too. But Derral is here today to share with us how to build a business with video, with your platform, and think outside of video to actually build something more sort of long-term that will last no matter what happens with technology. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the experiences that creators have been having on YouTube recently and what we can do to make sure we are always giving people what they want, and a number of other things. I mean, he even shares a little bit about some of the cool things that have happened as a result of bringing me on stage at his event, talking about affiliate marketing and podcasting and that sort of thing. So a lot of things today. Let's just dive right in. This is Derral Eves, DerralEves.com. Here we go. Derral, welcome to the SPI podcast. Thanks for being here, man.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here.
No, I have to thank you publicly here on the show because you've been so helpful for me and the YouTube channel that I've built. You actually flew to San Diego to give me some amazing advice. And since working with you and since actually getting involved with VidSummit, which has been amazing, and we'll talk more about that in a sec, you know, the channel has grown by over 100,000 subscribers since then. So I just wanted to thank you so much for all that because it's really been a fun experience.
Well, you put out some pretty amazing content, which is good, and it's needed out there. And so there's no wonder why you're growing.
Well, I mean, YouTube is a beast, right? YouTube is this weird entity that, you know, has its own heartbeat, its own kind of way of doing things, which is what we're going to talk about today. But before we get into YouTube and strategies for 2019 and how to get on the channel and perform well on it, I want to talk a little bit more about you and how did you become the go-to YouTube guy? I mean, people hire you for loads of money to help them with their channels. How did you even get your start in video and on YouTube?
Yeah, so back in '99, I started my company and we did a lot of search engine optimization. It was called spam back then, Pat. I'll just let you know. And we were trying to get websites ranked in directories like Ask Jeeves and Alta Vista and Yahoo. And then there came, a search engine that was really, really interesting, which was Google. It was kind of disrupting the directory space and doing it a little bit differently. And we went all in on that and found that, most of the world went all in. It took a few years before they really adopted that. And we got really good at making sure that our content was at the top of Google. And I was going out and getting doctors, dentists, pest control companies, attorneys, the whole thing to basically rank their sites, because that was kind of a valuable resource for them to get the phone to ring. Mm-hmm. And in 2005, I was literally expanding the business out and I needed to get a desk. And, at that time, I like to save money as much as I can. And so I went on Craigslist looking for a free desk, because you can find a free desk on Craigslist. And so I went on there and I saw this little ad and it said, that if you could get 100 people to sign up for this new platform, you could be entered in to win a new iPod. Now, at that time, the iPods were like the size of a brick. And like if you literally throw it at someone, it'd probably kill them, because it was like it weighed so much. Right. But it carried 1,000 songs, right? But that October, Steve Jobs got up and actually introduced a new iPod called the Nano. And so that was what they were giving away. So I went to this website, was checking it out, and I was literally blown away. It's like one of those moments when you're online and you actually see the future of where things are going to go. And that's what happened to me. I was able to go onto YouTube. That was the platform. And I was literally blown away at the video, because at that time, video actually had to buffer all the way to the end. So if you wanted to watch a 10-minute video, it had to go 10 minutes if you had good internet speed before it even start. But on YouTube, that actually had this great optimization for the player, so you could actually hit play and it would start playing your video and start loading it in increments. And so I was really blown away by that. And I really wanted that iPod, so I basically signed up right then and there. That was, about November 2005.
So this was when Google bought YouTube.
Yeah.
That was your strategy for growth, was like, let's run these contests and like just bring people onto this platform to show them what's going on?
Yeah, that was basically, they were just saying, hey, let's get a lot of people really excited about it and kind of go from there. And they put a couple ads out there and stuff like that. But as soon as I went on, it's like I had to tell people about it. It was like so transformational on where the internet's going. And I could see it. I knew that the most powerful way to communicate is just face to face, right? Mm-hmm. And then that video component, it's like it's been super powerful for years, but online it was very awkward at that time. And so I basically was an evangelist at that time for YouTube, just to get everyone to sign up so I could get that iPod. And before you know it, I decided, for me, I always want to find ways to upsell my clients. That's one thing I want to do, because that's the easiest type of transactions you can do if you're working in the service industry, is like figure out something else they're going to need. And I thought, you know what? Everyone needs a video on their website, because you had the ability to actually embed those videos on other people's websites. It was really, really cool. And so I'm like, this is going to be the future. And so I went out, convinced my clients to do that. And in about 2006, 2007, we made 865 videos for our clients. And in late 2006 is when Google purchased YouTube for $1.3 billion. And things started to change in 2007, because all those videos, all 865 videos, started to show up in search results. And I'm like, this is nice, because I was literally fighting every day with Matt Cutts, who's the anti-spam czar, says, oh no, we don't like this stuff here when you're doing SEO. And so they changed the algorithm and there was every update. And it got really, really frustrating, because we were always having to re-rank. But I found that we just gave these videos a good title and a good description. They didn't have any tags back then. And things just naturally started to show up. And when a new platform is usually adopted by someone, or they bring it on, they really put a lot of focus and attention on it. and they started to show up on the front page of Google. And I'm like, man, this is like so simple because no one's doing this, number one. And I says, number two, this is a wide open market. Yeah, websites are great, but what if you could get video content that can really, really resonate with someone and get them to take action, whether it's pick up the phone or whatever it may be? And so we switched over to that model, and it was pretty amazing because we would have all these videos ranked in the first place of Google, and then we also had several positions of Google that we were ranking videos for. And I decided, at that time, I needed to transition a little bit because doing websites and really getting them on top of it, there's so many different moving parts. Mm-hmm. And it was so cumbersome. I decided, hey, let's just sell that off. And I'm going to just focus in on creating video content because I really, really love video. And this gives me an opportunity to be a little bit more unique than my competitors out there. And so we started doing that because people could remember the videos. And when they come in, it's not necessarily they saw the website, but they could remember the videos if we had those video components in there. So that's kind of how it all started. And it really happened a little bit where we started doing paid per lead and owning the assets. And one of the companies that we worked for or with was a pest control company. And a good friend of mine, had a pest control company because we live in the desert. So we get these huge cockroaches, like the size of, they're just huge.
That's crazy.
But so anyway, he needed, some advertising. And so we just go ahead and started to do these lead gen for him. And we literally quintupled his business in like 4 months. And he was just like totally blown away. Had to go out and start spraying himself because, there's so many leads coming in. And so he actually started working with just the stuff that was the easier sprays. So he could just do bigger facilities. And one of those facilities was a piano store. And the owner of the piano store came up to him and says, hey, do you know anyone that knows marketing and, video? Because we're doing some stuff on YouTube that I'm really, really interested in. And he says, oh, you got to use Derral. And I went in and met with the owner, and he was trying to sell these grand pianos on YouTube. These grand pianos would go from anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000. And it was super, super crazy. And before you know it, they hired me to come in and start advising them and start working on their strategy and so on and so forth. And when I saw their videos, it was really, really, really well done. They would put a lot of energy and money into it. And I turned to him and says, I can see you're putting, tens of thousands of dollars in these productions. And he goes, yeah, we're doing quite a bit because, this is just kind of our form of advertising. We're not going to do radio or TV. This is just where the future's going. Mm-hmm. And I says, but you're getting hundreds of thousands of views on these. And they would actually take the piano and put them on top of mountains and in just beautiful, serene little locations and actually, play music and do it in a fun way. And it was like really, really awesome. And I'm like, this is huge. And he goes, yeah, if we could actually just do this full time, that would be great. We don't necessarily want to, own a piano store, but we'd love to just play music. And I says, well, how many pianos have you sold? He says, none. Hasn't done it. And I'm like, okay, you gotta do this. So, long story short, about 12 months later, they had 1.8 million subscribers. They went from about 10,000 subscribers to 1.8 million, and about 200 million video views, and really started selling out arenas around the world. And so if you're familiar with the Piano Guys, that's who they are. And that kind of started my true passion, which is in audience development and leveraging, an audience that really cares about something.
That's super cool. Wow. So they shifted their business from selling pianos to just performing and using YouTube as a platform for building their audience.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And now you are the guy to go to for building audiences, and you've worked with amazing people. I know you've also worked with the Harmon Brothers, and that's the Squatty Potty people and like all that stuff. It's just mind-blowing who you are connected to. And, I got to know you when I attended VidSummit a couple of years ago, and the quality of people that you were able to bring together and just the ties and the connections that you've had in the space is so amazing. And I just want to big plug Vid Summit right now. It was probably one of the most helpful, if not the most useful conference I've been to. And this is not VidCon. That's the big one where you see a lot of like mostly teenage boys and girls to go and find their favorite YouTubers and get autographs and merch. This is like a legit. I've learned so much from just the couple days that I've spent at Vid Summit in 2017. I went back in 2018 to speak. Just kudos to you for bringing those people together. And like, obviously you've been helpful to them, but how have you been able to really create these connections and invite these amazing people to come on your stage? And like, how have you been able to do that? I think a lot of us would love to become sort of like a Derral Eves in our industry where we're so connected. We're able to bring people together at these conferences and just build amazing businesses and have fun doing it. How have you been able to do that?
Well, that's a great question. I really wanted to go all in on video, and I really wanted to be known as the man. When people think of YouTube and audience development or YouTube strategy, I wanted them to think of me. And I remember sitting down with a couple of my friends and saying, hey, this is something, in a mastermind. I'm like, this is what I want to do. And I says, in 3 years, I'm going to be here. And I had a very clear path of what that is. And so part of it is really developing solid case studies that people would know. And for me, I had a really good case study that was one channel that had over 1 million subscribers each. And it led to 21 different channels that I've been able to start and get over 1 million subscribers each. And to get 39 billion video views, that makes a huge difference. And then to be working closely with the Harmon brothers. I was the executive producer on the Pooping Unicorn ad that everybody watched, and it had $45 million in sales. And so you get this name. But realistically, to be very clear and direct, I like to surround myself by people like me, people that really see opportunity and want to seize that opportunity, but still are willing to share. And that's why, Pat, I was like willing to come to you because you're one of those types of people. You're willing to literally be transparent. Say, hey, this is how much money I make. This is what I do here. This is what I do there. And I like to surround myself with people like that. And it's a huge compliment of what you said to me about Vid Summit, because what I love is people that actually would be a keynote and you've been a keynote at how many different conferences, right? That they would actually be on stage and then go answer a few questions for maybe an hour, but then go back in the audience and start taking notes because the next person's up there. It's just a really, really interesting dynamic. And so I found the more people that I help, and I don't really expect anything out of that in return. I think that the opportunities will come to me, the ones that I need to work on. That's how I was able to build that culture of creators just helping creators.
And it's really become a culture under Vid Summit, and I will be continually going back because, like I said, it's one of the most helpful conferences. So thank you for putting that together and doing what you do there. I want to shift the conversation to now. We're in 2019. YouTube obviously still around and video is growing, and there are so many people talking about YouTube and strategies and many my great friends, and I love them all, but sometimes I hear conflicting ideas, sometimes I hear do this but that's not working, and I know that every individual is different when they post a YouTube video and they have a channel and growth, but from the person who is teaching people how to build audiences on YouTube, how should we be focusing and utilizing YouTube as a tool today in 2019?
Here's the thing is a lot of people really focus in on the wrong things. And it's not that I don't love the other people that are teaching and training and giving information to the world, but sometimes they're a little misguided because they don't have as much experience in some aspects as other people. The reality is that YouTube is looking to accomplish its goals, and it's very specific at what it wants to do. It wants to bring people onto the platform and wants to keep them longer and longer and longer. And so the number one traffic source, when we're talking about traffic source, is like if you're doing search, that would be a traffic source, or embedded videos would be a traffic source. But the number one traffic source is YouTube suggestion. So when YouTube actually suggests your video to a specific viewer. And that actually equates up to 70% of all views that actually happen on the platform is YouTube suggestion. And so when people really focus in on getting found in search results, like that's so 2014. Yeah, 2014 is like, it's like they're focusing in on the wrong area, because ultimately at the end of the day, YouTube is run by Google Brain, and it's an AI that is trying to predict what's going to be the best thing for the viewer to watch. And it based off of how they interact with the platform, what videos they watch, what videos that they only watch a segment, what video that they consume the whole thing or watch over and over and over again, the videos that they come back once a week to. They really understand that. And they've gone away from YouTube channels and just focus in on the video itself. And so to predict exactly what the viewer will want is the main goal for YouTube, because if they can do that, they're going to stay on the platform longer. And as they stay on the platform longer, then they're actually going to make more money, because that's the end result of what they're actually looking to do. And so that being said, that's what you need to focus in on. That, as a creator, as a marketer, as an entrepreneur, you need to focus in on your content to make it appealing for people that would love your content. Now, I want to explain what content is, because this is the biggest misunderstanding that people have in dealing with content. And it's like they just think the video. And the video, believe it or not, is just a small subset of what the content really is. And the content is your title and thumbnail. That's like your billboard to your video itself. And it's like literally the most fundamental, most important step, because if they don't click on it, YouTube's never going to promote it, and that's that first indicator. So they actually have new data that you can see in the analytics, which they call impression to click-through rates. So you can see that percentage of how many people actually see the video or the thumbnail and the title, and the people that actually click on it. So the higher that is, you have a higher probability that YouTube's actually going to promote that out, because that was that first little trigger that the AI is looking for, is like, hey, this is good content. Now, that being said, it's like, and I like to use this analogy just so that people have context. So if you're trying to be deceiving to what the content's about, and it's like, if you have a billboard that would be your title and your thumbnail, and you're basically promoting pizza, and you go into the place that you think is a pizza place, and all they do is serve hamburgers, they have no pizza, then people actually leave because they were really wanting that pizza. And so that being said, that's what YouTube's looking for too. So you got to make sure that your title and thumbnail corresponds with your content. Now, sometimes creators put that content at the very, very end, and people lose interest. Like we literally don't stay on me. Seriously, like goldfish have a longer attention spans than humans do. And so it's like, you gotta introduce it very quickly. And so that's where that hook comes into place, where your hook should support what your thumbnail and title is all about. And then after that, it's all about, if you can get them past that hook and they're like, oh, this is a video I wanted to see, you basically have about 40 seconds of their attention. And so as you bring that value in, and the only way you can bring value in video is to inspire, educate, or entertain. If you're doing one of those things, or all three of them all at once, then they actually stay on if they're able to find some value in it. And the way to do this, and this is something that I've learned just over making thousands upon thousands of videos, it's like, if you can think of one person that you're making that video for and really define who the viewer is going to be, it's going to resonate a lot better. And I think the biggest mistake that content creators make is, number one, they don't plan well enough before they just pick up and start shooting, instead of saying, okay, let's kind of think about the elements that we want to go over, what we're going to, be in this video. And the second thing would be is that they're not really identifying who's watching the video. And so if it's just kind of all over the board, it can go from there. So like I have a client of mine, and I showed this example at Vid Summit, which was super amazing, but he was actually doing a channel that was gearing towards people that were getting ready for law school. And I helped him kind of understand who his target audience is based off of the goals that he has. Because he says, look, I want this to be consumed a lot more. I says, well, your viewer segment is super small because there's only so many people that actually go to law school. You're only going to get a couple thousand views. It's not going to be very massive on it. Even if you can go, you have something that they're all appealing groups. By the time that they find your channel and consume it, they might even be done with law school by the time that happens. And so, you have to be a little bit more broad. And we kind of helped him define that it was people that was interested in law, and that can go from there. And I says, well, is it really that, that they want to become a lawyer, they're interested in law, or is it, they just have a fascination with the whole Law and Order aspect? That's the TV shows they watch, that's the movies that they watch. Mm-hmm. Is that the type of content? And just by changing a small strategy from taking content that would be for them to get ready for law school versus doing a review of maybe their favorite trending, like Suits, for example, show, that they actually say, is this actually, are they doing a good job portraying the law here? What are they doing good? What are they doing bad? And he has had massive, massive growth because he was able to hone in on who his audience really is and was able to give content back to them that they wanted. And so at the end of each video, they would put in comments, oh, you should do a review of this, Better Call Saul. We want to see Better Call Saul. And so when you do stuff like that, then it's like, okay, boom. And he was able to grow very, very quickly. I mean, he only had a couple, like 10,000 subscribers or something like that, and got it to the hundreds of thousands of subscribers and millions of views per video release. Like he's getting 1 million plus views per video release now. And so it's like really understanding that audience and who you're making the video for will actually help you improve the content that you're making. You say, oh, they'll resonate really well with this thumbnail and this title. They'll really resonate really well with this hook and this content from there, because we could do this little element in the video. Mm-hmm. And the more that you do that, the better your content is. So like the biggest thing for me is really prepare and think of those things when you're actually developing content to push out to the world.
See, like when I create a YouTube video, I'm thinking of like, okay, what questions can I answer for my audience? Because they're likely typing in those questions in YouTube, and I get these questions via email or on social media. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to create a really highly valuable video that's going to answer that question. So a person might come and find me by understanding how to start a podcast or something, right? But and they may or may not subscribe. But then I'll create another video that's about something that's outside of the podcast realm. And then, my subscribers aren't seeing my videos. And I think it's because of, like, not every video will necessarily relate to them. They're not, like, my audience on YouTube, at least, is not like, oh, I can't wait for the next episode of Pat's videos because it may or may not be relevant. I answer their question, and it's kind of like one and done at that point. Versus, like, my podcast, people are, like, mad if I am late with publishing my podcast, and it's definitely not like that on YouTube. I'm wondering if, and I got this great advice from Roberto Blake, who I know you and he are good friends as well. He was like, your channel, and I'd love your opinion on this. He's like, your channel would perform much better if you kind of treated it like your podcast, where you don't necessarily have to have different kinds of content. Like you don't have to change the content, but it's just the framing and understanding who your audience is and why they would subscribe and why they would be anxious for the next episode. So number one, you have to be consistent, which is a big lesson that you taught me as well. But number two, like, what if it was like the Pat Flynn show instead of like random videos of how to like solve this problem and then solve this other random problem that, is not necessarily relatable to every subscriber. So I'm trying to balance like how-to videos, and using YouTube as just a place to answer questions and help random people in that way, versus like building an audience, which I know I'm not doing, even though I have 150K subscribers. Like most of my video views, 80% are coming from people who are not subscribed.
Right.
It's very depressing.
No, but that's the norm. Like even with the biggest channels that are the most subscribed, it's the non-subscribers that watch the bulk of the views because the AI does a really good job at predicting what people want to watch.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that being said, there's two types of channels that you can actually create. One that would be a utility channel, a resource channel, which is the how-to content. Like if you're helping people, it's very answering their questions. That's a very resource-driven channel. And then you have the other channel, which is more for that people are more creating a community. And that they come, it's like your podcast here. It's like, if you're late, man, you got people that are really wanting you to be on time and being consistent. Yeah. That's the same type of development that you'd create there. Now for me, it's just all, and I've had this conversation with YouTube before too. It's just like, what do you want? Like, what's your finish line? What do you want to accomplish with your channel? Cause like, there's some things that a resource channel is so much better for. It's like my channel that I have on YouTube is a resource channel, and it does its purpose, and I get leads, I get things going into different funnels, and I get people aware of the projects that I'm passionate about, and it does what it needs to do from there. Now, do I have like a super engaged audience? No, but I'm well known because I'm that guy. And, it fulfills its purpose. And I was blown away by some really, really big YouTubers. They're like, man, when I got started, I really appreciated that content you put out there. And I'm like, wow, that meant a lot to me because I had no idea that they were even watching my videos, so, that's kind of what you got to decide is between the two. But knowing your passion and where you would like to drive, I do agree that, you've done a couple videos that you put a little bit more thought into it, in the sense, and I'm not saying that you didn't put a lot of thought in the answering questions, but a little bit more thought into more of the Pat Flynn show type, where you just kind of used your creativity. You did kind of like a book review that I really, really liked, and it was really funny and hilarious, especially when you're standing on top of the kitchen kitchen counter, kind of swinging it around. Like that was really, really engaging, and like I would actually watch more content like that. And I'm a very, like, it made me laugh. It got me pulled in. But two, like your commentary is really good too. So like even just a talking head where you're just kind of talking, about, situations and stuff like you do on the podcast, I think is really powerful too. So it's just like, so you become more of that personality type, and that's the other portion of the channel. And that, I think that's where you can have a lot of massive growth, because you're starting to influence in other ways, because they're looking for you to help them be entertained or inspired or educated every day. So
yeah, I mean, you mentioned that a couple times. I know a lot of other people who share the same thing. Like, you have to have that sort of element, either one of those three or a combination of entertainment, education, and inspiration. And I think a lot of people create their videos without even considering one or a few of those. They just kind of come on to answer questions or be a talking head. And I find that I find what I find challenging is I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and then I start to go, I wish my video, like, I wish I could do it that way, or I should probably drop a giant thing off a trampoline from 400 feet in the sky, because that'll get me a ton of views. Like, I get so.
You actually have to have an Australian accent.
Yeah, so you know what channel I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So I'm like, and I want to like throw a basketball off a dam and see how much it curves because of science and stuff. And it's just like, but like, it's hard for me to see those and not go, I should do it that way. How do you recommend staying in your lane and developing your own style versus just like, yes, getting inspired by others, but not getting off track of where you should be?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, where's your passion? What do you want to accomplish? Where's your finish line? Once you can understand that, I do know that there's a lot of creators that need to do a creative release. They feel like they're in the mundane, and I know I've had this conversation with you too in the past. It's like you got the podcasting down, and you're not really challenged. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're like,
right.
It's just like you're just fulfilling time to provide a service that helps all your other funnels that you set up to, actually accomplish. I do believe this. I think you're a super creative guy. I know we went over a lot of ideas and stuff when I was at your office, but it's like coming up with ideas that would just be fun for you and no one else is a good way to release and to create. But you can also gather. So let me kind of explain what I'm saying from that. So with Vid Summit, I was actually going and speaking at different conferences, right? I was at different conferences for years, And I was really disappointed in what type of information is there. Like at VidSummit, you can't pitch. You can't get up and say, hey, go buy my product, back in the room. Why? Because I hate that. I feel like I've already paid enough money to come to it. I want to be able to, you spend time, which is money. You spend the flight and the hotel, and and then you have to go buy another $5,000 worth of stuff. Come on. And so for me, I wanted to create a safe zone to learn, and I love sharing information. I love learning from people. I think that's the best way to learn, is when you get someone's experience and you kind of see where they're coming from and you see their pitfalls, and you're like, oh, okay, well, if I could kind of add this to my life, it'll make it better. And for VidSummit, I actually couldn't find a conference out there that I liked that was meant for me. And so I started one. And so the only person that I think about, I know this might seem really bad, but I have my avatar, and it's me. I want to make the conference so I enjoy it. And I know there are people out there like me that would enjoy the same thing. So that being said, and that's been very successful that way, because it encourages people that are speakers and trainers and educators like you and have a following that feel comfortable actually sitting in the audience and learning from somebody else, where you'd go to another event and it's like they put a panel on and you're like, you don't really get anything out of it. And so that's kind of where I focus in on. And so if you actually had a YouTube channel that actually was fulfilling with one of your needs, which I think you have a need to create, and I think that's why you get really itchy, like you need to do something, you need to do something.
Super itchy.
And it's like you need to create. What if that was like your outlet to create, and it was just the things that you wanted to do to go have fun? Can you actually build an audience out of that? Yes, you can. And the thing about it, and this is what I really love, it can be about anything. You just need to be consistent in what you're doing. And so once you define what that is, you just need to be able to be consistent in it and then go have fun. It's like you never know what happens, coming from when people watch your videos. And I have a good friend, Daniel Markham. He has a channel called What's Inside. He actually got into it because his son wanted to cut open a ball for a science project. And they posted it on YouTube because that's what you do, because it's just easier than putting it on a drive or whatever. Well, it started getting a whole bunch of views. And like, oh, that was fun. Let's do another one. So they just started cutting things inside. And so he was in the medical sales arena, and he was very, very successful, like the top salesman in the company, had a lot of perks, had a lot of seniority, had a lot of money come his way. And he was having so much fun being a creator. He came to me, and I remember he's like, I don't know if I can quit, man. It's good money, and YouTube's really, really good money, and I really enjoy it. And I just don't know if it'll last. And I'm like, I says, you can always go back into the things that you can fall back on. YouTube's a great opportunity. And, he listened to some other creators and, talked over with his wife, but he quit his job and went full time on YouTube. And what was great is his wife was working and actually made more money than him. And she was able to quit and just be with the family. And they have 2 channels on YouTube and a couple pages on Facebook, and they're getting, hundreds of millions of views, a month. It's just crazy. And the thing about it is, a lot of people think that there's no opportunity in the money being made. And I'm here to tell you there is so much opportunity in integrated brand deals and the advertising that's there, doing your own merch and products. You can make a ton of money and set it up very systematically where, you have a lot of automation and stuff involved to really provide. And I truly believe that a lot of people think, oh, the wave's gone. I think the wave's still coming up. I think there's been a smaller wave that happened, but I don't think we see the mass entrance into this, and where the bigger dollars are now starting to come in, and they're actually putting more money behind it. And so what people would do for a brand deal, they might get, $20,000, $30,000 for integrated brand deal where they do maybe, 2 minutes of a video that's focusing in on a product. Now that's like a couple $100,000, it's just like, seriously, per video. And so there's a lot of opportunity there. And then 2, I think it's just the way, I truly do believe this, and you can mark my word on this podcast, but I truly believe the way that advertising is going to change is it's going to get more complex and more regulated. And there's just a lot of that fear factor of everything that's going on. And so the brands are going to shift more of their advertising dollars into influencers, the people that actually say, hey, go buy this, and they'll go buy it because it's an easy sell. You have a pitch person for that, someone that is giving you a solid review. And so those deals are going to be bigger and bigger and bigger. And I've seen struggling businesses that would do one strategic ad buy and they were still struggling just because they're like, oh man, you're just not hitting it. And it's just, we can't scale it to the level. Mm-hmm. But then they get one influencer and spend about the same amount of money with their ad buy and they quintuple their business, and that's the reality is like when you can find those influencers that really speak to your brand, or for your brand, it can be really, really impactful. And I truly believe that's where the social and the advertising are converging. And yeah, there'll be some ad supported remarketing that will work very effectively for companies. But I think that's where the bulk of the money is going to be going in the next 3 to 4 years.
Well, thank you for that insight. And going back to Dan really quick from What's Inside, like what an amazing story. I actually got to meet him at Vid Summit, which is really cool. Super nice guy. Saw he was featured on one of my favorite channels with Mark Rover very recently. And just it's really cool to see that the community's there. And man, like you said, a ton of money right there for videos and advertising. But there's also other ways to generate an income. And this is where you and I pretty much align very well, which is, if you have a YouTube channel and an audience there, it's not just about the advertising dollars. It's not just about the merch. I mean, create a business out of what you've created on your YouTube channel. And I know that's a lot of why you wanted me to come into Vid Summit last year and talk about podcasting and continuing to build your audience, affiliate marketing, and generating money that way. If you have a YouTube audience, big or small, but targeted, what would be your best recommended way to turn that audience into like a real business versus just relying on the one platform to generate money from?
Yeah, I would never rely on one platform because platforms could change, policies could change, and you'd be, trying to scramble to do something next. And so going into it, I try to build the email list as quickly as I can. The email list is a very powerful asset and resource that you can have because, even if you go to Facebook and you're going to Instagram, like you're basically putting your business in other people's hands. And so making sure that you actually develop a relationship outside of that. I'm really interested more in text messaging now just because the open rate's a lot higher and stuff like that. It works out really well if you can get them nurtured into that type of interaction with you. Mm-hmm. But you don't need that much. You don't need that many followers to make a decent business out of it. And the way I look at it is really understand the pain points and solutions to those pain points for the people that you're creating content for. So like, for example, you had a product that I saw at Vid Summit that everybody was freaking out about. Is that public now? Is that a public thing?
It's coming out. By the time this episode comes out, it may be actually on Kickstarter. So that's for the Switch Pod.
Yeah. So like that you basically created a need, between you and Caleb. You're like saying, hey, this is a need. We need it like this. And it like when people were at Vid Summit, they're like freaking out about it because that was a need for you and for Caleb. It's just like, this would be so much easier if we could do this. And you found a way to get it produced. You partnered up with the right people for it, right?
Yeah. And shout out to Richie.
Yeah, Richie's a great guy. And, that's where the power is. It's like you had something that people would need. And that's where you can start bringing business in from your influence that you have, because now you can say, hey, if you're getting into it, this is so easy. Let me just show you a flip of the wrist of how you can get this all set up. Mm-hmm. And that's the cool thing about it. It's like the creativity, or you could partner up with certain brands or businesses. It's like really, really interesting once you start getting a following, and it doesn't need to be super big. I want to give this very big disclaimer just so that everyone knows. It's like you don't need an audience to make money. I've had people that contacted me and says, hey, we have this idea. We're going to go out and shoot this pilot. So that people can see it, but we want to pre-shop it for our brands. Like, and they didn't have any audience. And this specific client went out and got 2 brands to pay him well over $1 million to produce the content. and they were a sponsor for the whole year. Now they got up to hundreds of thousands of subscribers and millions and millions and millions upon views because their strategy was sound. But you don't necessarily need to have an audience to start making money, and that's the thing that I truly believe. You just have to have vision, and you have to have a concept, and I truly believe you can get people to share your vision and be able to help you deliver on, doing it full time, whatever it may be. But I definitely encourage anyone that's on YouTube or any other platform is to really diversify and to automate. It's like, you should automate everything that you possibly can with, Zapier and all the other applications out there to do things. Once you do certain items, that it triggers other things to happen. I would do it because at the end of the day, if things go away, you don't want to go where you have to go flip burgers at, some restaurant or something, unless that's what you want to do. But the reality is like you can really protect yourself in so many ways if you can diversify it, and you can actually make some pretty interesting money there as well. People look at my channel, for example, and says, "Oh, you only get so many views, and you're not making money off of ads." And I says, "That's true. I might make a couple $1,000s off of ads, in a given month, and that's good for some, but I would never support my family at all." And so but what I do is have had very strategic videos up that actually bring in leads, and those leads are automated. It goes through a sequence, and it goes through a sequence of sell or whatever, and it keeps me busy. I get anywhere between 200 to 300 leads a day, and these are on content that I put a lot of effort and time back in 2013.
Wow.
And it's still doing it, and I'm just getting ready to re-release because I've matured quite a bit since 2013, and there's some content that I will redo that will make it so much better. But I didn't necessarily need to do it because it was doing its job, and that's what I'm getting at, is that YouTube's a great long form, and as long as you have a good plan with these platforms, doesn't matter what platform you're on, to how to actually do work for you. That's where you're going to see a lot of success.
Thank you, Derral. To finish up, just a couple quick questions. Number one, you said you've been collecting, 200, 300 leads a day from your YouTube videos. I've heard that it's not the best strategy to collect leads from YouTube because you want to not take them off your website. You want to keep them on YouTube because that helps your algorithm score or whatever. How are you collecting leads from YouTube? Is it simply a go to this website, sign up to get this thing, or is there a specific strategy there that we should all be aware of?
Well, it's the strategy that we all use, right? You're creating value that the person watching the video will want. Okay. And so whether it's a 30-minute training that's exclusive, behind, if they give me their name and email address that they get access to, then it's that exclusive training. And so that's the whole thing. So that you basically have, where I'm dealing with video, it's just video content that they can get a little bit deeper access. And so the reality is you bring up a point of bringing people off a platform. And it's like, if you do that every video, you're literally breaking terms of service. Like there are terms of service in YouTube. It says if you're consistently taking people off a platform, you're breaking the terms, and they can terminate your channel. So what I do is not have it be, I only have 6 videos that I've created out of almost 200 that are lead generation videos. And then I've led people to Amazon and other places with that, but I just don't do it in every video, because that does break terms, but it does affect your views. Because what's YouTube's goal? They want to keep people on longer. And if you're the video that's sending people off, that could be damaging, unless you have your other indicators that it keeps other people on, because not everyone's going to click on it. You just have a percentage of the people that watch it that will click on that.
Right.
So.
Okay, so it's not every video that you have a lead magnet, and it seems like you are very strategic with what those videos are, and the other videos that you have are adding value, keeping people on YouTube, and eventually a person's going to get to one of those videos, and because you've given them value either in that video or several other videos, they're likely going to follow through and join you elsewhere.
Absolutely.
Got it. Oh man, dude, what's on your plate now? What's coming out in the future? What should what should we be aware of, and also if you could give us any info on Vid Summit and what we could look forward to there this year, that'd be great.
Absolutely. So I have been working. I really believe in disruption. I think if we want to really change the world in a positive way, we need to disrupt what things were status quo or whatever and make it better. And one of the things that we did was we actually got approval with the Securities Exchange Commission to take public money and do a Reg A offering. And we are actually funding a TV series. Like right now, I'm actually in Dallas right now, and we're producing a TV series. And we were able to raise basically $5.5 million up to this point. By the end of a few more weeks, we'll be probably about 6.1, 6.2, and we will be the number one most crowdfunded television and film project of all time. We're number 3 right now, and we're literally about $200,000 away from that, which will be just a couple of weeks that will be above that. And so this series is unique because instead of just getting a T-shirt, people are actually investing in the company and getting stock. And as the project succeeds, they're able to benefit in their investment. And so right now we have well over 8,000 people that have contributed and are now what we call our partners in putting it. And we're just getting ready to put the final touches on this TV series that we're doing.
Dude, that's amazing. So if people go to DerralEaves.com, would they eventually be able to find that, or can you reveal anywhere where people, if they're interested in that? Because that sounds really intriguing.
Yeah, so they can go to thechosen.tv. Okay,
cool.
And that will take you to it. It has all the information there for you. And I really do believe this. This is something that I'm really excited about. I do believe in the crowd. I do believe, if certain people want certain types of things, that if they're able to help fund it to make it possible, that's a win-win for the world. And you'll find other people that are like-minded like that. I mean, we had well over 8,000 people actually go through this process, which is just humbling, to be honest with you. And the great thing about it is there are amazing projects out there, and this one should be able to pave the path. If we're able to get our investors' monies back, which is a very big weight on my shoulders, which we do have a pretty amazing thing because we're actually doing things that's never been done before in film and television, which is we're actually building an online audience first. Yeah. and we're actually putting out content every day. And I think our Facebook page is right around 70,000 likes right now. That's where we spend the most of our time right now because it's just an easy platform to share. And what's been great is we're actually doing behind the scenes of the production, and you can see what's going on right now. That's going to get people excited to watch the series. And we have some really cool launch strategies we'll be doing that will integrate the new way of really getting the word out with influencers and stuff. We're really excited about that.
That's so cool. That's so cool. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun with this too.
Oh, so much fun. So you can find it at thechosen.tv, and then definitely Vid Summit, just to end on that, because you mentioned that. We don't have dates quite yet, but it's going to be either the second and third week of October.
Okay. So, you always do a big announcement, and everybody gets excited about that with the dates.
It's coming. It's coming soon.
Okay. So. Cool, man. Derral, thank you so much for taking time to hang out with us and share with us a lot of your expertise in the video space and what's coming. And good luck on the projects, and can't wait to see you again at Vid Summit this year.
Thank you.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that presentation with Derral Eves. As you can tell, a wealth of knowledge. And Derral, I'm so thankful that you are that you had time to come on the show, because I know you're a busy guy. You're working with a ton of brands, and I'm so thankful for that. So hope you all enjoyed this episode. If you did and you want to give a shout out to Derral Eves, you can find him on Twitter, Instagram at Derral Eves, also Vid Summit. Make sure to check that out. I will be going back next year for sure, and it's going to be awesome. Also, if you loved this episode, please make sure to leave a review for the Smart Passive Income Podcast. That would be helpful like none other if you had just a couple minutes to do that. Just go to iTunes and leave a review for the show and let me know what you think. And I appreciate you for that. Thank you so much. The show notes for this episode can be found at smartpassiveincome.com/session355. One more time, smartpassiveincome.com/session355. I appreciate you. Team Flynn, you're amazing. I cannot wait to serve you in the next upcoming episodes. We got a lot of great stuff coming your way. Until then, keep rocking it. 2019 just got started, and I know you're already off to a great start. So here we go. Team Flynn for the win. Let's do it.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
Look, I get it. You want to grow your business, but trying to sell to hundreds or even thousands of people gets very exhausting very fast. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? Score App helps you sell to more people without adding more to your plate. You build a quiz or assessment that your audience actually wants to take. Then they answer a few quick questions and get a personalized result right away. It shows them where they're at and what they need to do next and how you can help. And you build huge amounts of trust before you make even a single offer. No hard sell, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. All you have to do is just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI. Have you dreamt about being your own boss, but still haven't made the first steps to making that dream a reality? Well, I get that. Starting a business can feel super overwhelming with legal forms, paperwork, finances. It's a lot. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Taylor Brands. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal assets and the business assets separate from day one. From there, you get access to everything you need to get off the ground. Legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program, all designed to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free, personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, listeners of this show get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. All you have to do is head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands.